parent and their teacher, children are very hyperactive. They love to play and they have a lot of energy reserves and they want to exert it. So the best is to ensure that they do not play so much as to exposing them to heat stroke.
Okay.
So this should be taken into consideration.
Okay. Does color of clothing, because once upon a time I heard about the black, how black absorbs heat.
Yes.
So
Is that true?
Yes.
So
yes.
we should
So
try
I
to.
think the idea is to avoid putting on dull colors because dull colors help attract heat into the body, but very reflective colors help to reflect it away from the body. Then also of importance is when you asked about giving hydration to somebody who is unconscious.
Yes.
It should be said here if
About staying out of the sun. But these days, during the day, if you stay indoors, you notice that your room or your sitting room becomes so hot. So what should we do then?
You go out.
Go
That's why
out.
we talk
The sun is
when
out.
we say out, it's shaded, you have shade.
If possible, somewhere with regulated temperature.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then, I think scientifically it has been proven that you take a minimum of 2 liters of water daily.
So that's
Minimum.
water.
That's if you are taking your sachet water, that's about four sachets daily. But during each wave, I think you should be more. You should be more.
More, how much?
in addition to it, I think we need to take cognizance of the fact that our body physiologies are not the same. The way your body functions is not the way my body functions. Now, as a result of what I talked about before, like the risk factors, let us take into consideration the age of the people. When they are children, their immune system is not strong enough to detect how hydrated the body is. And so you should help them detect how they take water. For as much as possible, get children hydrated. The same thing for adults as well, who are over 65 years and above. Then for adults, like those who are between the ages of 18 years and 50, 60 years, of course, and we know, all things being equal, their central nervous system is functioning very well, and so their bodies can detect when they are being dehydrated, and they can easily go to take water. Take for example, when we had the Nations Cup, we saw they were always at
Break
time.
observing that break period,
Yes.
cooling off period where they can go take water. So that should spell it.
Okay, Gaga, you have more questions? Okay, I think we've actually exhausted our questions and we now clearly understand that we're experiencing a period called heat wave. You've explained what heat wave is, and then you've actually told us the causes. You've told us those who are more at risk and ways we can manage the heat wave. But before I let you go, I just want you to just run through, the both of you to just run through the do's and don'ts during this heat wave period, because I think we need to say this over and over so that our viewer can actually know that this is serious and this is something that we should pay attention to, because most Nigerians have this mentality that, you know what, what's that, we've seen heat before, now we can go on as Nigerians, we can just move. But I want you to just quickly run through the do's and don'ts during this period.
Do's. Please dress lightly. Don't wear heavy clothes. And then stay hydrated.
Okay.
Also, plan your movement, plan activities. You go out in the early hours of the day when the sun is not too hot.
Okay.
Plan your schedule either in the morning or late towards in the evening. Okay?
So basically for me, it should be to avoid strenuous activities that will make you to exert so much energy and then your body gets overhead to do it for us.
Okay, are there fruits or foods that we should take during this period that is preferable during this heat wave, or are there foods and fruits we should avoid too as well?
Watermelon comes to mind.
Yeah.
A lot of watermelon should help you get hydrated.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then
Cucumber too.
cucumber. Okay,
Now, for the things you're not supposed to eat, avoid alcohol. Alcohol increases the body metabolism and then generates heat, so avoid it. And also for those who take drugs, please avoid drugs that causes vasoconstriction.
what's
When I
that?
say vasoconstriction, I mean constriction of the blood vessels, especially for those who have situation known as hypotension, reduced blood pressure. So please avoid taking that. Then for those who like to get high, like smoke, and all of that, it also causes increased body temperature. So please avoid that this period.
Yeah, you heard our trainers. They've talked a lot about the heat wave. Nigerians, please pay attention and understand that this heat wave is a serious issue that we should actually pay attention. Thank you so much for coming today, Trainer Charles Rimono. And we've also had
Trainer
Joseph.
Joseph.
Odua.
Yes, trainer Joseph
Odue.
Odue. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
it's a
much.
pleasure.
It's really, really, really amazing to have you both here on set, discuss with us, and let us know that this is something that we should pay attention to. We do appreciate your presence today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And that's how we're going to wrap up Friday's edition of Morning Ride today from my partner in progress, Ogaga.
Alright, you've heard it. Let's end on a health note. So, you've heard it. Do well to wear light clothing, be hydrated, don't involve yourself in strenuous activities. Don't quarrel, I beg. There's already too much stress. There's too much stress. And of course, try to be
I think you
kind.
should take that advice yourself.
She should take that. Okay, so and be kind to one another.
True.
We are going through a lot in this nation at the moment, so let's do the needful. And wishing you a happy weekend. I think.
That's all we have for you in City Corner this morning. Remember that heat wave is so serious that it can lead to heat stroke. So make sure you hydrate properly. Make sure you wear loose clothing this period. And then when you feel your body changing, get ventilation. Leave that particular environment where you are and get enough air. That is it on Safety Corner. Moving on to our next segment this Friday is the biggest trend on X. And we have with us our ex-girl in the studio. Patient is here with us to tell us, to update us on what's been trending on X. X is formerly known as Twitter. So let's find out what has been trending. Good morning, Patience.
Good morning, Blessing. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fine. I need to compliment your nails. They're really nice.
Thank you.
It's glowing and I like the color. It's really mature.
Thank you. Thank you. Gaga made a comment about it. Now you are. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning, Okaka.
Morning, patience.
How are you
Welcome.
doing?
I'm fine, and you?
The outfit too is nice.
Thank you. I like your smile.
Thank you. So we'll be moving on to, as usual, starting off with the minor trends, then moving on to the major trends.
Okay.
So the first on the minor trend is hashtag Wizkid. Wizkid, congratulations to him. He won the Best Male Artist at the 10th anniversary of the African Entertainment Awards USA.
Okay.
Wizkid has been doing so much and very well in the industry. And also, he released a song last night titled Dance, and it has been trending all over social media. So what do you have to say about Wizkid?
Well, I'll say congratulations to Wizkid. You said he's been doing a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I am not.
Well, I've been missing the a lot too. I've missed it too.
He won an
Exactly
award
what I
last
wanted to
time.
say.
And then
No, not just award. I'm talking about production.
Yes,
Okay,
I've not been
production,
seeing
okay.
a lot that he's been doing, but like I always say, people love Wizkid and he's talented. We can't deny the fact that he's talented. So even when he's quiet for some time, when he doesn't come up with a single for a time, people still love Wizkid. People
he
still.
released this song a few weeks ago, and then he now dropped this one last night.
Yeah, I've not listened to the song.
Yeah.
I've been too busy with work, but I should listen to the song. But congratulations to him. I keep saying it. Anytime any Nigerian wins, it's a huge win for the whole country,
Yeah.
for us as Nigerians. So congratulations to him and well done. And we hope he does more and he gives us more singles to dance to.
Yeah, thank you.
So-
Gaga, what do you have to say?
Congratulations to Wizkid, and I think that Wizkid is already an icon in the music industry,
Yeah.
and no matter the kind of, I think if you have a collaboration with Wizkid normally, you should be sure that that song will blow in our local parlance. So congratulations to him and all of that. I hope we get more of congratulations than fight. This person deserves it more and all of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Wizkid FC, this, that. No. So congratulations. It's a win for Nigeria. That's what we should be focused on.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to be reading two tweets on that. Someone said, award they chase Wizkid on a steady. Too much grace, oil day in head. Biscuit and winning is just like T-Pain and bad governance.
I saw that, I
Oh,
laughed.
why? Why do you have to drag
I don't know. Nigerians are very, very funny. Okay, it's okay. So the next minor trend is hashtag Dangote Refinery. So NNPC ends petroleum importation and partners with Dangote Refinery after they have been imported for a very long time outside the country. So due to the whole back and forth and everything, they realized that okay, they want to partner back with Dangote Refinery. So I'm going to be reading some tweets and then I'll hear your opinions about it. So someone said the NNPCL has spent over $10 billion on turnaround maintenance on our refineries with no results to show. The beef with Dangote Refinery is endless. Foreign nations are approaching Dangote Refinery for supply. In no time, fuel shortage would hit the nation again if the NNPCL is not overhauled there. If the NNPCL is not overhauled there, won't be meaningful, consistent progress in the oil sector. Mr. President must find the courage to confront the NNPCL structure. And I'll take the last tweet. Someone said, hopefully, these agreements will make a shift in Nigeria's oil sector, signaling a move towards more localized, efficient, and potentially more cost-effective distribution petroleum products. Now, this is leading us to say how much is Dangote willing to sell to NNPC, and how much will the NNPC sell back to us? I'd like to hear your take on this, Okawa.
I think the last release report was that Dangote was selling to, I think it's NNPC at then 919 naira per liter.
Yeah.
So then the NNPC distributes to the independent marketers. And now this collaboration with NNPC, they call it partnership. I don't understand what they mean by partnership. I don't know if it just means that instead of going to import, they'll be getting directly from Dangote, or they also have a stake in Dangote Refinery. I need to get details on that. Because if they have a stake, I think initially they were supposed to have a stake, then they pulled out. I think they have a certain percentage. Because in all honesty, I don't even think that. I don't want the NNPC to have a stake, and if they do, I don't want them to have a significant stake in Dangote Refinery, because if they do, it's the same business and corruption they'll try to push in there. So, and the truth is, when we get stories like this, good one for Dangote, but I will not necessarily say good one for Nigerians. Good one for Nigerians in the sense that, okay, maybe scarcity will reduce, however, the price, no, I don't think so. Because whether you like it or not, Dangote is in business. That's what you need to understand. Dangote is in business and he must make his profits. So when everything, it even took a while before it came out to tell, like, what I've noticed about Nigerians is that even though it came to the fore, and this is not to criticize him as he were, I'm happy that he's investing in his country and all of that. But when this thing started, when anything happens, he will come and cry to the public and tell him that this is what is happening, and Nigerians will know that the government, in quote, they are trying to frustrate Dangote and all of that. Then when they said they'll sell crude to him in Naira and all of that, at a point in time, we're saying, let us know. That's the issue I have. I think that, and to be fair on him, I think there are cabals, there are powers that be in Nigeria. For you to do business with ease in Nigeria, you have to submit to some certain cabals.
Okay.
And that's why, before Dangote even came out to speak on pricing, NNPC has been releasing different price. And that's the challenge I have. I don't want a situation where it's not the NNPCL that determines the price. Because they told us that the market had been deregulated initially. But guess what? Anytime NNPCL comes out and releases a price, it affects every other person. How come? You're telling us that this product has been deregulated and market factors will determine the price. So one entity, NNPCL, comes and adjusts their price. So if Blessing and I into the same product, if Blessing decides to increase her price, it should not affect mine.
So you're saying they're not really transparent?
Yes, so the transparency is still not there. And this one that you're saying they're partnering with Dangote now, I hope the same issues that we've been having with our local distribution from NNPC, because the idea normally was NNPC, they had the sole rights to get from Dangote. So when they purchase from Dangote Refinery, then NNPC distributes to the independent marketers. And Dangote has been calling, and also that's the funny thing. You hear Dangote calling that Ipman, independent marketers, they should stop importing petrol. Ipman will say Dangote should stop selling to NNPC. Dangote should sell directly to them. I'm like, what is really going on?
But this time around, he wants to sell to Ipman, Argo, all of those agencies. He wants to be selling to them.
So where does NNPC come in? As NNPC saying they are partnering with NNPC?
Maybe they are trying to get...
Because I just want NNPC to leave that middleman role.
Okay.
And distribute to everybody. So if NNPC is buying, NNPC they are buying as independent marketers as it were, because they even have their petrol stations, buy and sell. Then independent marketers, they buy and sell at their own price. So that's it. But in spite of all, I still think that we'll still be getting petrol over 1,000 naira.
Okay.
But like I said a lot about this issue. When I think about this Dangote, NNPCL, the price issue in Nigeria, it's sickening that, you know, the federal government at this point in time have not been able to sit down and solve these issues. It's very complex that if you and I begin to ask questions, we're not going to get answers. When Dangote refinery came up, Nigerians were happy. Some persons, were of the opinion that if we have Dangote refinery in Nigeria, that the price of petrol will go down. But Dangote has over time said that because he said the first time it was this excuse he gave that the crude oil he got was not from the country, that the country did not give him crude oil.
Oh, yes.
He imported.
Yeah.
And so therefore he has to sell his refined petroleum products at the price at which he got the crude oil to refine. But now the federal government has said, okay, Dangote refinery should be given enough crude oil to refine. So why is the price still high? Like Ogara said, I don't see the price coming down, but it should come down.
Don't you think after the whole partnership,
if he's getting crude oil from the country, prices should go down? Except there's something that we don't understand. Then he should come out and explain to Nigerians. Like Ogara said, when they were trying to frustrate him, he came out, he was always crying out that this is what is happening. Now he should come out and explain to Nigerians. NNPCL, the federal government, Dangote refinery, they owe Nigerians explanation, because it's funny to hear that we have a refinery here in Nigeria, even though it is not government owned, it is private owned, and we understand that Dangote has to sell to make profit, but it's still in the country. So why is it still as high as those ones that were imported into the country? And like Wagaga said, NNPCL should come and explain to us this partnership thing. They should make us understand. The federal government have said, okay, Dangote refinery could distribute to independent marketers now. So it's really complex. It's really complex, and like Ogaga said, they're not transparent enough. We need them to be transparent. We need the federal government to explain to us what is really happening.
Okay.
And the federal government should not just rely on Dangote refinery alone. We have other refineries in the country. They should. Over time, they spent money. They spent money to maintain, to do some maintenance and repairs in those refineries. They should. I just feel like we have people who are sitting high up there and they don't want things to work. Like just like a guy said, there are people that for you to do business with ease in the country, there are some persons you have to dine and wine with. So it's time that the federal government, if they're really serious about it, look at those refineries, Port Harcourt refinery. They should maintain them and they should start working so that we know what we're doing. But for now, I don't think they're ready to solve the petroleum crisis we're having in Nigeria. I don't see them working at all.
Okay, let's just hope the government will do better. Probably just like
we keep hoping. We've been hoping for a long time. Our hope is not renewed. Our hope is not renewed at all.
Okay, the federal government, please listen to our cry and then do something about it. Thank you. So the next minor trend is #tattoo. So a lady reportedly received some disciplinary treatment from her brother after a viral video of her tattooing her boyfriend's image on her chest. So we're going to watch a clip of her brother beating her very mercilessly after she drew a tattoo on her chest.
I
So I'll tell you, it's not even fine. It's not worth it.
So you tell me so ugly.
Or is it the boyfriend? Look, guys.
I don't know.
You see, I love what's happening here, and I love the fact that he's using a cane. It's not hitting her or using something more deadly. Because there's some persons that when they want to discipline a child or discipline someone, they begin to use very heavy objects. I'm glad he's using a cane. I love the punishment, and I hope that other brothers in Nigeria wake up to their responsibilities. Because those ladies you see out there who are misbehaving, those ladies who are into drugs, I know that a child that wants to spoil will spoil, right?
Yeah.
I know that even if there are cases of parents who train up their children very well, they go out there, they become bad. But then brothers have a role to play. They should begin to discipline their sisters. If you see your sister doing something wrong, you see your sister dress up in a way a way that that if she goes out there, this is what it causes. Discipline your sister.
But
Even if she's above 20, she's above 25, 30. As long as she's your sister, and most especially when you're older than her, learn to discipline your sister. I called my younger sister yesterday, and I spoke to her. We don't live together, and because of work, I can't go home. But I had to speak to her on the phone. It's your responsibility, because parents, with time, they age, and they may not be able to discipline us as they ought to do, because we're now bigger and we're stronger and they're older now. But siblings have a role. Check your siblings and correct them. Even sisters should correct their sisters as well.
But if this to be another country, let's say USA for instance.
This is not USA. That's why I'm very happy.
He'll be jailed for it. Okay, look at the picture of the tattoo. That's the boyfriend's face.
Whether it's fine or not, it's not my business.
Okay, let me
husband. The boyfriend is one that has all this mouth.
Let me say you're about person. I think from the video and everything. So let me read some of this video now. Hear your opinion on Gaga. So someone said, so they have strict and sensitive families like this, and they come out and do things like this is amazing. So she has a brother like this, and she had the audacity to not only tattoo a boyfriend's face on her chest, then she now made a video that went viral. That's silliness. Someone said the brother has no right to make decisions for her. It's her body and her choice.
It's a lady that tweeted that.
A guy.
A guy that tweeted that.
To me on Vegas website. So someone also said maybe he is beating her because the way the drawing looked, and not because of what she did itself. Because even the person that drew that needs to be beaten.
Yes.
Okay, how do you have to see?
Bro, there's a place of okay, I had to check. I just quickly checked, and from what I'm seeing online, I'm seeing that corporal punishment is legal in Nigeria, because that's the angle. When you see things like this in schools,
why is speaking English? This is Africa. This is Nigeria. We're talking about family.
No, but
even if you go to police stations, they will still tell you this is family. You should go and settle it.
But if she's above 18, I mean, she's an adult.
No, that's why we are broadcasters. Okay. We have to balance the law with whatsoever you feel, with whatsoever sentiments you have.
Okay.
So I had to check for corporal punishment, and in homes, from what I saw, it's legal in homes. So I think that the brother did well in disciplining her, because like one thing we have to realize is that there's what we call culture, and back then when we were doing social studies, they say culture is the way of life of a people. If it was in another clime, tattoo is very much okay. You get people do tattoo and all of that. So, but here it's, if you see the elderly people, it's one of the things that the elderly see, and they tag, a couple of them tagged somebody as being irresponsible. It's just like even some piercings and even chains and all of that. They tag. So I think that first of all, if you want to even convince me that you should leave the tattoo, it's not fine. So why you? And it's even your boyfriend.
Yes. Okay.
It's in the relationship ends.
I don't think the brother has an issue with the tattoo. He has an issue with her tattooing a boy's face on her chest.
So it's even your boyfriend. So for example, I want to believe that if that lady was married and that was her husband, the brother will not do that. But it's not a wise decision, and you even did that. Now there's family name and integrity as well. You did that, you are making it. Come on, it's not like it's even the back of your palm. It's like slightly above on her bosom there. Do you understand? I am doing that. You are making a video of it and putting it. Come on now.
But don't you think there are other ways to talk to the sister? Like sit her down, tell her this what you did is wrong. This is that instead of beating.
Yes,
her.
so there are different approaches.
Okay.
That I agree with. But however, this is a form of discipline. Do you get?
Yeah.
Did he get the result? I don't know if he got the result, if it has been removed. I don't know if they even have
It's
parents.
difficult to remove.
She just did it, so it's going to take a while. And if they want to remove it, it will still be there. They'll just maybe use something to like erase the whole face and everything.
It's difficult to do that.
That's
It's
a stigma.
really sad.
It's there.
And we've seen cases of like there's a Nigerian actress Bimbo
Yeah.
that said she had a tattoo of her boyfriend's name, and then when they broke up, she had to go.
That's what I was going to say.
change it.
So what happens? Yes, when you people break up.
Please, I really want this video to go viral, and brothers should know that siblings should know they have a
That's
responsibility.
why you're
to this.
really going to be a very strict parent.
Do you know, when we have different things going on social media, people will be like, oh, if you have a sister or a cousin that is not out there embarrassing your family members, you don't know what the Lord has done for you. You don't know what the Lord has done for you. The rate at which young girls go out there, these girls, you know what? Family should just do better. That's just what I want to say.
Okay.
Nobody is perfect. You make mistakes.
Yeah.
I make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
And I wish my brothers really watch what I do and correct me, because they are men. So as a brother, you know what your sister shouldn't do.
Yeah.
That would make her look like a slut in the eyes of other men.
Yeah.
You know what your sister shouldn't wear. You know, this is really sad. Really, really sad. She's too young to do this. Not even your husband, your boyfriend.
Okay, this is Nigeria. So let's move forward to the major trend. So the first major trend here we have is hashtag DNA. So a young man who has been married for 8 years discovered that his boy child is not his through a DNA test. So apparently his wife has been having an affair with his best friend and bore him his son. So there's a video. So let's watch a video of the man lamenting online, showing us the DNA results of.
Woman, when I marry, when I put woman for your head, do money for your head, do marriage, do everything. My best friend is they sleep with the woman. He got Babele. He give her Bele. When he give her Bele, I get the way my show for meeting. The day of the marriage, he even got the marriage. So after the marriage, that's my best man. After the marriage, this boy still continue to they sleep with my wife. So a good 8 years before God called her. Before God called her, before they got catch them. When they catch them, where we carry them go, there's a deny. They say nothing like that. Before the woman come agree, I say yes, the two things do one. They ask this very boy. Where we carry them go, they say no, go to see. So today, let me collect the result. So the three children. Soon now your own. The boy went there inside. My friend. He said, I get that person. So maybe people were there the world. So maybe they look where the woman they do now. So that people were there the world and need more advice from them. See the woman for us.
That's why they're dragging out. So I'm really surprised that I know you have a lot to say about this. So I will start with blessing.
No, you start with the brother.
Okay, let's start with Gaga.
Where is the man?
Okay. Yeah, someone said, this is rubbish. Leave her alone. Those accusing her are also doing it. What if the husband can't father a child? It's not her fault, but the best friend. What? It's not her fault, but the best friend who can't hold himself. So another person said, it's coming from a man. Anyway.
Was that a lady?
No, it's coming from a man.
A man that tweeted that.
Yeah.
That it's not her fault. But
Yeah, for the best friend. So someone also said, according to Benin tradition, before or after marrying a man, there is a process carried out like an oath between the woman and her husband's family, deity, whereby she will forever remain faithful, or else calamity will befall her if she cheats on her husband.
It should be both ways.
If her husband knows. I know there are some traditions like that, even in Akwa Ibom State.
most traditions, they exonerate men.
Even in Cross
No,
River.
there's not like that for the men, so it should be both ways.
That's why I said they
I
exonerate
wouldn't
men.
do that except it's for both of us.
Funny enough, in Cross River, it's the man that would actually face this whole calamity.
Oh.
Yes, man. So it's
Yeah, but it should be both ways. So that
both
when the
ways,
man
right?
cheats
Woman,
too.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Over. So Ogaga, let me hear.
Okay, let me just pick up from what Blessing said. It's unfortunate that it's that way, but I think that why some traditions have it that way is because in this African climb, they believe that men have the right to have more than one. If you trace most of our traditions, men can actually marry more than one woman.
And you tell her at the beginning of the marriage that you are polygamous in nature.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So now for this issue, it's terrible. I'm surprised that somebody tweeted that man that haven't tweeted that if I was his girlfriend, I don't know if he's married, or his wife, I was suspecting. How can a man say that it's not the lady's fault, that is the best friend? Was she raped? If she was raped, I would say, okay, it's not the lady's fault. These are two adults giving each other consent to copulate, have children. It's terrible. And
this man was his best man in their wedding.
Yes, now. So I've seen videos. Like, so on my wedding day now, my wife is coming. She's looking so beautiful. I'm crying. My best man is crying. Okay, why you they cry? I've seen a video like why you cry for my wife?
It's emotional.
Emotional that what?
A video that trended like
you
that
know,
too.
some people even go to weddings and they are seated there in the crowd and they cry as well.
Okay, so that's one. Then things are terrible. I've also heard a story of alleged story, and this is one. A priest. I was told that a priest, after having an affair with a lady, he now told the lady that the lady should not worry, that he will get her a husband. He was not trying to look for a good man. So we see things like this. So people, and I've also seen situations also that chairman of the occasion, that me and my friends were having guys talking like, my wife not go bring chairman of occasion when I don't know. Because sometimes your guy be like, I want this place to be, you don't know him, one wealthy man. That guy is sponsoring the wedding. Sugar daddy from nowhere, you don't know. So I'm just saying that, and that's why people have to be careful. Back then when I was growing up, I used to tell people that one of the best places to find a wife is when you're in the higher institution. Because most times, even though whatever the person has done in secondary school, it's a little bit money. But if you can find somebody in the university that you people are really that you people really grew up. No. I'm not saying there's not one size fits all. Because see, the truth most people start to, and I know that there are exceptions from senior secondary and all of that, but most people go rogue in their higher tertiary institution.
Yes, so, I also wanted to tell you that there are some women who get married as virgins, who are clean, and they start misbehaving inside the marriage. Those are exceptions. If you put the percentage and you see percentage of women that misbehave, most times a virgin is just an exception. A loose woman right from university now enters marriage, she's more likely to be rogue and do terrible things than a virgin. Well, like I said, it happens different ways.
So this thing is terrible, and that's why men have to be sensitive. Both ways too. Ladies have to be sensitive. Because like I said, I think it was last week I said it, when this Equatorial Guinea, this thing was trending. I said that, and I still believe it till now. See, if you are with somebody and the person is cheating on you, if you are not cheating, you will know.
Yes. But the woman is cheating too. You saw that too. The woman is
yes, that's what I'm saying.
When I saw that stuff, I remember
so that's why I said that. Except because most times, so for example, if you're not fully in the relationship and you already do something outside, your partner is cheating. It's not like you don't necessarily know, but you care less.
Just care, yeah.
But if you are faithful and you are diligent, you are channeling.
Sometimes even if you are cheating, you know. Even if you are cheating on the person, you know.
That's why I also use that. Except you care less, because if you are channeling your emotion, your compassion, your time, your attention to one person, and the person is cheating, you will know. So I think that's where the man. So the truth is, see, marriage is not compulsory. That's what I would just like to put out there. It's not compulsory. So if you know that you cannot be faithful to one partner, except it's an open marriage, and if you're a Christian, that's not something you should delve into, because it's the Western culture that does this kind of things of open marriages. Or if you're not a Christian traditionally, but your partner that you're even bringing in should know that, okay, I'm a traditional person. I'm not staying with only you. With time, there are chances that I might bring in another woman. I don't think I've seen traditions. It's not like there's no polyandrous marriage. But most times in this part of the world, it's mostly men that have more than one partners.
Okay.
Women barely have more than one partner.
Okay, thank you very much, Obeba. Let's see what you're saying.
Well, there's nothing that's happening now that's not happened before.
Okay.
And these days, men are acting surprised because of the, like Ogaga said, the part of the country where we live in, where they feel like men are polygamous in nature, women are not. But the truth is, humans are polygamous in nature.
No.
Humans, yes.
No, I don't even subscribe that anybody's
Because
polygamous. I
wait,
don't subscribe.
no, it is reason why I'm saying this. It's just like the human nature naturally before Christ came, salvation came, and when you give your life to Christ, you're changed. Human nature is just like the Bible even said the heart of the man is wicked.
And back then, normally it's okay for a woman to marry many husbands. Like back then, so I
yes, even in Nigeria, this in Nigeria,
that people do it. I don't agree that it's your nature.
No, Ogaga, really, the human nature. If you look at the way humans are, it's innate in us that sometimes, if like I said, the Bible even said that the heart of the man is wicked. Greed, corruption, any type of sin you're talking about, it's there. It's not the person. When the person now decides that, okay, this is who I will be.
Yeah.
Just like the Christians, now when you give your life to Christ, now decide that, oh, I'm a Christian, this is the life I will live. If not, it's not easy to tame some of the things that you were born with.
Yeah.
So I don't like it when people say men are polygamous in nature. It is not exclusively for the men. The way men cheat. As a matter of fact, men cheat better because they cheat and you may never know.
Okay.
But a man cheats, you see signs. A woman can be cheating under your roof and you will have no idea at all. Imagine getting pregnant for 9 months, giving birth to a child, and for 8 years this man has been acting like the father of the child, and deep down within you, you know that is not the man's child. It's hard. It's really, really, really hard. If it's a man, somehow he will give way. Somehow you will know that this child is not mine.
True.
Anyway, now that it has happened, it is wrong in all ramifications. It is wrong. Like Ogaga said, if you know you cannot be faithful to someone, then there is no need to lead the person on. There is no need for you to get married to the person. Marriage is a sacred institution. Marriage is something sacred that we have bastardized in this generation. It's not about the West or being Africans. Both the Westerners and even Africans, they've bastardized it. But marriage is sacred, and people should learn to respect other people's lives. It is risky to be cheating on someone. You put the person's life at risk. You put the person's health at risk. We've seen people committing suicide because they found out that a partner is cheating on them. So it is wrong. It's really wrong. And as for the issue of DNA, I wouldn't want to say everybody should start doing DNA, because I know how I would feel if my husband would say he wants to do a DNA for every child that I give birth to. I'll begin to feel like he doesn't trust me. But at this point in time, it is something that I feel like if a child is born, DNA should be conducted in the hospital. It's expensive, unfortunately, but I feel that there should be a law that once a child is born.
What is it?
Yeah, I agree to that too.
No, I've said it before.
Yes, once a child is
the
born,
thing is, it's not the couple. So that's why it's the institution. Like Nigeria should make it a law. Just like when you give birth to a child,
make the amount less as well.
You do blood tests. You do all those things, genotype, those things comes with this thing and the birth.
But in Nigeria, do you know there are some hospitals that they let baby go home, they don't do all those tests?
Yes.
Because some adults don't even know their blood group. So
True.
they should have that law that once a child is born, a DNA test should be done. Because we've seen cases of children being swapped too.
Yes.
Where nurses steal people's children. So DNA test should be done. Then we have that law in Nigeria where if you commit adultery against your wife or your husband, you can be sued. It's not just tradition. We have the law. It's just that people don't know. And women would not want to go sue their husband to court. We don't want their husband to be jailed. We have a law. I think we should focus on that law. Really, it's getting out of hand. That you marry somebody, you deceive the person for years.
So the question is, to what end?
To what end? The person should be arrested or whatever punishment should be given to the person.
You can be forgiven. This is marriage. At some point, like,
no, it's becoming too much. It's getting out of hand. It's getting, especially for the women. I know that yes, every woman wants equality, but the truth is, men and women can never be the same. We are not the same. We are different. We complement each other, but we are different.
True.
And as women, cheating on your husband back, like say your husband is cheating and you go back to cheat, it's not a game. You're cheating with your body. So it's your body. It's not being woke. It's not being Gen Z or being.
I think honestly, no matter how anybody tries to rationalize that thing for me, I feel like anybody, whether male or female, that your partner cheats on you and you reciprocate with cheating back is because your eyes have been outside too.
And that may not be the case. That may not be the
That's
case.
it.
You know, it's just be the person being angry and you want to retaliate.
So who are you?
But instead of doing that,
so let me
walk
tell you
away.
a question. Let me ask you. So a man now, his partner cheats on him. If his eyes are not outside, who will he want to cheat with? That's the first
That's what
thing.
I'm saying.
So the fact that you have somebody to cheat with.
No,
So sometimes
that's not
friends
true.
can actually lure you.
That's even
into-
friends. Sometimes you get tired and you say, okay, you know what? I'm done.
Anything goes,
You begin to
yeah.
look for the person. You now look for someone and you start a relationship.
Please, because of our time, let's move to the next trend. So we have, this is the last trend anyway. So we have hashtag disrespecting the Naira. So a young man, a Chinese man, for reasons best known to him, pulled out some Naira notes and tore it in front of some Lagos government officials for sealing his premises. This happened in Lagos, opposite Echo Kate along Lekki Ekpe Expressway at a Chinese company. So let's watch a video for proper clarity. Then I'll read some of the tweets.
Nigeria money. Nigeria money. Nigeria money. The Chinese man tear Nigeria money. It's disrespect to Nigeria. He has disrespected Nigeria. He has disrespected Nigeria. It's Nigeria money. Nigeria money.
We're not trying to say they should kill him, but we are all Nigerians. Don't you think we need to support ourselves? Because I spoke about a minor last week that committed a crime, treason, and in Nigeria, and they were detained for 3 months. So if this case is not properly treated, then it's really bad.
Yeah.
So let me read some of these tweets. So someone said the EFCC is obviously going to arrest him and charge him to court, which is right because the Chinese man committed a punishable offense. But the problem is how intentionally selective the agency acts when it comes to justice. If this was done by a high-ranking politician in power.
How the hierarchy politician tear the Naira notes.
So someone also said, funny how the loudest voices are often guilty of the same sins they condemn in others. Someone said, make DNA. Sorry, this is not the tweet. Then someone said, let me even say the angle that is pissing me off. Who are those stupid Nigerians defending and shielding him? They should all be arrested and charged for aiding and abetting crime as well as criminal obstruction of justice. So let me hear your tweet, your comments about this.
Okay. I think the word for me is patriotism. I don't think most Nigerians understand it. And it's quite, so if you're Nigerians, it's understandable. Because a couple of Nigerians, they've gotten their fingers burnt on in the name of patriotism. And it has begun to, it has watered down. And so people don't preach patriotism as it were. Because they are like, even our so-called leaders, politicians, they don't exhibit patriotism. So why should me, someone that's called to lead, but it's terrible. I said that to say this, even if the person, you work for the person or you work in the site, see, love for country should come first. That's the truth. If most of the issues we're having in Nigeria is because of lack of patriotism, if love of country comes first, you see what he did was to incite Nigerians. You see the way he did it. Like, he knew it will annoy people, and he did it. So I really like to follow up this story and see what comes out of this. And like, was this one of the tweets you read? To me, it's aiding and abetting. Those persons that were trying to defend him, they were aiding and abetting the crime. It's like you see somebody steals. It's the same thing as seeing somebody steal and trying to allow the person escape. You aided and abetted that thing. So the truth is, this has been done. Let's see our law enforcement agencies act. They should act. Then also, on the flip side, I don't know, I didn't see the full video, but on the flip side, I also want us to do things without emotions. So I don't know if the officials were trying to get violent and physical. So let's abide by the rules. So if you come and you want to arrest somebody, even the police that are guilty of these things. I was in a keke one day. Yes, the Nigerian was challenging the police officer. That's how the police officer slapped the guy. You don't have that right. So sometimes so-called law enforcement agencies, they want to really enforce and use force. It's not necessary. So I'm saying that, and that's why we also saw the video of that last man, driver that was trying to burn people up with himself. So it's terrible. So I'm saying that as a law enforcement agent, when you come, whatsoever your reason is there, if your place is to seal the place, seal the place. If you are being prevented from sealing the place, go back and come with policemen or whatsoever and seal the place. You don't need to exchange blows and whatsoever. So as a law enforcement agency, at best, when you now see what you should be doing is self-defense. So it's when the person uses force, that's when you now apply force to get the person. But now you get to a place and this is even all those people preventing the arrest or whatsoever is uncalled for. So that's my take.
Ogaga said almost everything I would want to say. It's simple. This case is very simple. But Ogaga, I disagree in that part where you said we didn't see the full video, so we don't know if the law enforcement agents were trying to enforce, trying to force him. From the video I saw, even if they were doing something wrong, even if the law enforcement agents were against the law, or they were doing something that, let's assume they were trying to rough handle him or something. Is that the reason why he would tell you now?
I did not say that's a justification. I just use that to address law enforcement agencies when they go and do their raid.
Exactly. Because I wanted to say, no matter what happened, even if they sealed his company, the law enforcement agents were just being malicious or anything, he has no reason whatsoever to tear the Naira notes. But it's what happens when a country doesn't pride it, as a country is just there.
Doesn't pride itself.
Yes, a country lets people come in the way they want, do business the way they want.
Yes.
We can't go to other countries and do that.
Yes,
but
in Nigeria,
the same
never do
here,
this in
A
China.
foreigner will come to Nigeria and maltreat Nigerians in Nigeria.
Say Nigeria.
And Nigerians will cry out. Nothing will
No
be
problem.
done.
It has happened. Let's see what they will do. Let's see how they will handle this. The EFCC that's been going around. Let's see what they will do. But this man has committed an offense and he should be punished. There's no two ways about it. Nothing to argue. Nothing to. His story is not even something that should give us headache. We'll just watch and let's see what's going to happen.
I'll follow the trend to see what happens to this young man. So this brings us to the end of today's X-Trend program. See you same time next week. I'm Patience Iferi, your ex-girl. Thank you, Blessing.
Thank you, Patience.
Thank you, Ogaga. It was a nice time with you guys.
It was.
You want to take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
The Delta State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, has called for the decentralization of policing in the country. The council said that this would pave the way for federal, state, metropolitan, and local government police to ensure the effective security of lives and property. Call was contained, among others, in a communique adopted when it held its Congress last week at its Miriam Babangida Way, Asaba Secretariat. The Congress also expressed concern over the state of insecurity in the country, particularly in Delta State, and frowned at the Infant Allocation Committee (FAC) to ensure credible elections in the country and reduce the judicialization of the electoral process. The full text of the communique reads, Communique of Delta State Chapter of NUJ. The NUJ Delta State Council at the Congress on January 18 after the liberation of the state of the nation expresses concern over the state of insecurity in the country, particularly in Delta State, and frowns at the influx of persons with no known or verifiable addresses in the state, thereby heightening insecurity. Calls for periodic profiling of residents, especially those without means of identification, to checkmate crime. Calls on security agencies to carry out periodic raid of uncompleted buildings inhabited by miscreants to restore peace and order in the state. Calls on the relevant government agencies to carry out oversight on beggars in areas such as Interbao, DBS, Coca Roundabout, all in Asaba, and others to restore sanity. Calls on the police and other relevant security agencies to check and regulate the activities of commercial tricycles and motorcycle operators, particularly on the highways of Delta State. Calls for the banning of the activities of scavengers, aka iron condemn, in Delta State. Calls for the non-involvement of the executive arm of government in the appointment of senior electoral officers of the electoral body INEC, such as chairman, commissioners, and rec, and its funding should directly come from the Federal Account Allocation Committee (FAC) to ensure credible elections in the country and reduce the judicialization of the electoral process. Condemns the police invasion of a live television program in Abia State and urges sanctions on all those found culpable. Lauds the judgment of the Abuja High Court that the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission (NBC) cannot fine broadcast stations for alleged breach of its code. Finally, the Congress calls for the decentralization of policing in the country to pave the way for federal, state, metropolitan, and local government police to ensure the effective security of lives and property. Signed, Churchill Oyowe, Chairman, NUJ Delta Council. Victor Siroku, Secretary, NUJ Delta Council. Godwin Ide Diogo, Guardian Bureau Chief, Chairman, Communique Drafting Committee. Ifeanyi Olanye Nan, Secretary, Communique Drafting Committee. Ifoma Okafo, NTA, Member, Communique Drafting Committee. And with us this morning, I told you we have a special guest joining us. With us this morning is the chairman himself, Churchill Oyowe, the chairman, NUJ Delta Council. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be with you once again.
Okay, so let's dive right into it. So from the whole communique that was read, the summary of that is that majorly we'll be focusing on the decentralization of policing, talking about state policing. Now, the NUJ called for the decentralization of policing to ensure security of lives and property. Now, my first question to you is it really our system of policing that plays a role on the spate of insecurity, or the lack of political will and manpower?
Well, it's a complicated mix when you talk about bringing about peace and order in the society. That is one aspect. Decentralization of the policing of any society is just one. Manpower is also there. And of course, when you mention the political will, is also important. Now, when we talk about decentralization, we actually meant that we should not have one formation. As it is now, we just have one formation of policing in this big country, the biggest black nation on earth. in terms of population, is about the 9th in the whole world, and it's a federal structure of government that we operate in this country. So having one police formation is counterproductive to security efforts. Now, what is the implication of having one police formation? It means that all police divisions, commands, whatever you call it, zones, they all report to one person. They all report to one person, and they get their order from that one person, which is the IG of police. So, in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, that is lacking. So, we need this policing to be decentralized to the county level, which is the government level. In America, they call it county. To the local government level. And when you have very big cities, they can also have their police formation. A city like Lagos, a big city like Port Harcourt, Benin, Abuja, they can have metropolitan police. Then you go to states. State can have its own police. It doesn't really, it's not compulsory. If your state cannot afford it, it's not by force. You can also rely on federal police. Then, of course, the federal police, which has jurisdiction all over the country. Now, why decentralize? Is because the way we have it now, the present police formation, first and foremost, it is difficult for us to have one person responsible for giving orders. If a division and the IG does not respond on time, you see that there will be problem with that security challenge. The security challenge will be pending. And that is what we are saying is making the police, one of the reasons we are saying is making the police to be inefficient and ineffective. But when you have a decentralized system, if it's a local government issue, what the local government can handle, they handle it there and then. Okay. If it's something that they cannot handle, they cannot call for backup, or even ensure that the next local government, they are informed if it has to do with cross-border. So you will see two local governments collaborating to fight a crime. The same thing with states, two states collaborating to fight a crime. And sometimes you involve the federal. But now it's only the federal. So some people can cross-border and commit crime, move from one location to the other. Nobody is checking them. That's why you can see kidnappers moving from one local government to the other, robbers moving from one local government to the other, from one state to the other, because there are no state policing structure in those areas.
Do you think it's really because of lack of state policing in those areas? That's why kidnappers, robbers, they cross border without being apprehended?
We are looking at one of the issues. I've told you that political will is also an issue. And I've also told you that the issue of understaffing is there. If we come to all that. But we are looking at having a structure that you can work with effectively and efficiently. If the structure is there, then you will not be talking about manpower. You will not be talking about the political will. There, we will not be talking about how it should be headed.
Okay, comrade.
How it should
feasible do you think that this call for the centralization of the police, how feasible do you think it will be? Because over the years we've had several calls for the police, for state police, for the police to be decentralized, and till now the police have not moved. They've not even made any move to actually work on that. And will this decentralization of the police not call for more men? Is not a call for more people to be recruited into the police force?
Okay, let's take the first part of it. How feasible?
Yes, exactly.
Very feasible. It's just for us as a people to understand that we have a problem that can affect anyone at any time. It's a problem that if you don't solve now, tomorrow you might become a victim. We don't know the level that it might affect you. Now, they used to say that in civilian government, it is a democracy where procedures are followed.
Yes.
And if you go by the constitution, in order for you to have all these things put in place, you have to debate it first at the National Assembly before you will not carry it to the states, and you see the rigors of getting it done. So that political will has to be in place to say, indeed, we need several police formation. If it were to be military, it will be done by fiat. That is where the civilians should challenge themselves to say, since we came in, what grand changes have we brought in? We are just there debating endlessly without having results. Tomorrow, they will come and say, we are debating on policing. At the end of the day, they will jettison it because that political will is not there. It's because, again, that they have not seen the need to address it. Bearing in mind that one day, anybody could be a victim.
I think with all the insecurity we have in the country,
Anybody could be a victim.
Yeah.
Now, you see what is happening in the Plateau.
Yes.
And you see what is happening here, even here in Delta, where hoodlums overpower police. They are now lawless. Hoodlums, particularly from the northern part of this country, they are now laws unto themselves. They can do and undo. And when the police come, you see them overpowering the police. So, that tells you that even the police is not adequately equipped and manned.
Adequately equipped, is that
And
what
manned.
you think is the problem?
And manned. Because if you can overpower the police, it means that the number of persons who you send on a mission must have been very, very few. So, what we are saying now is there is need for that political will.
All right.
For us to know that there is a problem, there is need for the political. We have not seen it as a problem. That's why we have not taken that political step
and
to address it.
And for them to achieve this decentralization, they will need to recruit more men. We need more policemen and women in the force. Because right now the police is crying out that they are short-staffed, that they need more people.
Yes. Actually, at present, we have about 371,000.
About 300, less than 400, yes.
371,000 current statistics. And not that we have a benchmark for police population ratio. We don't have a benchmark like that. Like some people say the United Nations has a benchmark. There's no such benchmark. But it is believed that one policeman should be able to cater for 220 persons. That is a good standard when you take those advanced, developed world into consideration. Here in the third world, we said one police to 400 persons, about 400 persons. Now, if you benchmark this with the number that we have compared to our population, which is over 200 million, you will see that we are way, way behind. We need about 190,000 more presently to bridge that gap.
Okay.
That is what the Inspector General of Police said, Egbetukun. And from the federal government perspective, they want to be employing 10,000 yearly. If you go by that, it means that we might not be able to meet that target in the nearest future. It will take us another 20 years to meet up that 100.
Is what we truly need, because if you look at our communities, let's look at Delta State, for example. We have the police, we have the military, we have the DSS, even down to our communities, our towns, we have the vigilante groups, and still insecurity, it's like it's on the increase. It's beginning to rise daily. And then two, what was the response of the police? The NDF visited the police and talked about the decentralization. What was the response you got from?
We have not visited the police yet. Okay. I said we will visit the comptroller of immigration to register these concerns. Now, what I'm saying is this: you just answered the question yourself. In the presence of all these security agencies, we still have problems. It's because there are structural defects that have not been addressed, and that structural defect dwells down on the police formations that we don't have in this country. We don't have police formation. We also have one police formation. Police is there. It has a specific role, and the role can be intertwined with other security agencies. But you cannot just leave that in the hands of one police formation. We just have to have the formations that will take care of a state, that will take care of a local government, and in case of a big city. That way, people will not just commit crime and go scot-free. They can be traced, they can be addressed there and then. It's not the one that you'll be waiting for the IG to give approval before you act. No, there and then, if it's a community issue, they will settle it at the local government level. If it's a state issue, they will settle it at the state level. If it's a big city like Port Harcourt, like we have mentioned, even Asabaye is getting to that. The Metropolitan Police will come in and address it. You don't need to go to Abuja or a zone in Benin before you can address it. It will make the policing of this country to be more effective and efficient. And for me, if we truly want to address the problem of manpower, then there is need for us to act fast. The Inspector General of Police recommended 20,000. I am recommending 50,000. In the next 50,000 yearly, in the next 4 years, we would have gotten enough. That is for federal formation, though. But if you want to have other formations, then we don't need that much manpower at the federal level. More so when most of them are being used outside the policing job as escorts, as guards, and the rest. It is making the condition to even be more debilitating.
Okay. Of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Delta State Chapter, talking about the decentralization of the Nigerian police. He is of the view that indeed we should have state policing to help with the security situation in our country. Well, we'll move on now to our next and our last segment for today, and that is newspaper review. Ogaga and I will go through different newspapers this morning. We'll check out the headlines, and then we'll just read out the headlines this morning because fortunately, we won't be joined by our analyst, Comrade Abel John God. So I'll start with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. We'll take just a few headlines and we move on. The Nigerian Tribune has its major headline: Ondo election, military deploys troops, IGP orders tight security. The riders: INEC distributes sensitive materials to 18 local government areas. PDP accuses ruling party of violating peace accord. It's an attempt to divert attention from your impending defeat. APC replies. The Magun governors lead PDP final campaign rally. That story is on pages 3 and 24 of the Nigerian Tribune. At the bottom strip, we have this screaming headline that says FEC approves 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget, set to borrow 13.8 trillion naira. The rider: targets economic growth, stability. That is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. We'll move on.
Moving on to the Daily Independent, the lead here says, vote buying, violence could upend Ondo Guba election. We've got lots of riders I'll just take 2. As INEC faces another integrity test with off-cycle poll. INEC distributes sensitive materials, says we are ready. Federal government proposes 47.9 trillion naira budget for 2025, $2.2 billion borrowing plan. We've got 2 riders. Projects crude price of 75 PB dollars, exchange rate of 1,400 naira per dollars. FEC OK's 250 billion naira mortgage refinancing loan for Nigerians. Oborero represents 936 billion naira 2025 budget to Delta Assembly. Get details of that story on page 7 of the Daily Independent. CBN warns Senate against creating crisis between it and SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. And lastly, from the Daily Independent, Okpebholo orders freezing of Edo-owned bank accounts.
All right, let's look at the Daily Trust newspaper. The Daily Trust newspaper has its major headline: Federal government proposes 47.9 trillion naira budget for 2025. The riders: pegs crude oil at $75, exchange rate 1,400 naira to a dollar. Proposal too ambitious, will balloon debt, inflation figures, says experts. That is on page 3 of the Daily Trust. At the bottom strip, we have the screaming headline: concerns over cash squeeze in states despite increased CBN supply. The riders: POS operators, customers accuse banks of rationing. Grains merchants mop up notes to visit local markets. Shortage in Ondo ahead of governorship election. That is on page 4 of the Daily Trust. Moving on.
The Vanguard newspaper, the major headline here says 2025 budget, FEC OK's 47.9 trillion naira, federal government to borrow 13.8 trillion naira. Just take one of the riders. IMF report, Nigeria absent in good news, included in bad news. What is sad commentary? At the top strip, food. Federal government secures AFDB's $134 million loan for farmers. I hope the funds actually gets to the farmers. CDS to DIOs. Tinubu relying on you over national stability, food security. Crude. NNPC Limited achieves 1.8 million barrels per day production, targets 2 million barrels per day. And lastly, from the Vanguard newspaper, Okpebholo freezes state's bank accounts, reverses ministry.
All right, the Guardian newspaper is next. And the major headline from the Guardian newspaper says, oil-backed loans. OPEC quotas threaten federal government for the 7.9 trillion naira budget plan. That's on page 6. At the bottom strip, I'll take these 2 headlines. $5.5 billion recapitalization calls heighten as vandals destroy 119 electricity towers. That is on news page 3. I wonder why these vandals are never caught, but they are going ahead to destroy our electricity towers. And then we have Atiku advises Tinubu to focus on governance, not 2027. That's on news page 3 as well.
The next daily we have for you is the New Telegraph. The lead: FEC proposes 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget and endorses $2.2 billion loan. Still on the budget. And moving away from that, Guba poll. Ondo's destiny in the balance as candidates gear up for showdown. Africa's diabetes cases may hit 54 million in 2045, WHO warns. Still on health, global measles cases spiked 20% in 2023, and this is credited to a WHO CDC report. And lastly, from the New Telegraph, IMF, Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio to hit 51.3% in 2024.
Okay, let's look at the Punch newspaper now. Major headline on the Punch newspaper: Ondo poll, military, police, man boundaries, IG orders lockdown. The riders: BVAS, other materials arrive local governments. PDP governors ask electorate to defend votes. EFCC warns vote buyers. That's on page 2 At the bottom strip, we have 4 Kogi varsity lecturers dismissed for sexual misconduct. That is on page 4. That's the last one I'll take on the punch.
Okay, and the last daily we have for you today is the Nation newspaper. The major headlines, same as the previous ones. FEC approves 47.9 trillion naira as 2025 budget estimates. Lawmakers to get proposal, and that's the rider. Ondo 2024, CDS assures of security agencies impartiality. Another rider, why we stepped down for Aida Tiwa. The PDP urges voters not to allow intimidation. And the last rider on that story, APC, PDP accuse each other of violating peace accord. Interesting. On a sad note, course-mates eulogize General Lagbaja at service of songs. Supreme Court delivers judgment today in States versus EFCC case, and the last headline will be on sports. Super Eagles qualify for Morocco 2025 Cup of Nations. Get details of those stories and more on the Nation newspaper.
And that's our paper review for this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, but do get yourself copies of these newspapers so you can read up the stories for yourself and get in-depth analysis of the stories. That's how we wrap up Friday's edition of Morning Ride. Just before we go, Gaga, your last words?
All right, the weekend is around the corner, so do well to have a good rest for those persons that are off during the weekend, and even as you go about your different activities, do well to be kind to your neighbor. It is I, Gaga Ikama, thanking you so much for your time.
And I won't leave this set without mentioning that this week has been anti-bullying week. Anti-bullying week. So if you have a child, to bully someone, it's not just in the schools as well. So teach your children not to go ahead to bully people. But then, bullies are not only students. Bullies are not only children. We have adults who are bullies as well. We have bullies in offices. We have bullies in public places. So make sure that you're not out there bullying someone as well. Have yourself a great weekend. And on behalf of the production team, we say thank you so much for joining us for Friday's edition of Morning Ride. Join us weekdays, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. for fresh editions of Morning Ride. I am Blessing Ustiabada. Goodbye for now and have a wonderful weekend.
Have you ever wondered what it will feel like if you totally surrender to God on the program? So